A woman carries within her a force so powerful that when she becomes aware of it and unleashes it, it becomes impossible for the man in front of her to resist. This force is not obtained through pursuit, compromise, or self-sacrifice. It is tied to who you are, how you carry yourself, and the frequency your presence emits. Today, I will tell you about the 5 triggers that enable a man to form a true emotional bond. It's not about what he says, but about what he feels when he is with you, a unique sensation he cannot find anywhere else. This is the way to leave an imprint on his soul without chasing or forcing him. First trigger. A man does not bond with what you give him, but with what he feels when he is with you. This may sound harsh, but it's the truth. A man doesn't stay with you because of what you do for him. He stays because of what he feels in his inner world when he is by your side. It doesn't matter how much you love him, how much you care for him, or how long you wait for him. If he feels confused, empty, disappointed, or even inadequate when he is with you, he will not bond emotionally with you. He may desire you. He may enjoy pleasant moments with you. He may even need you in tough times. But a true emotional bond does not arise from the body. It arises from the mirror you reflect back to him. If, when he is with you, he feels seen, appreciated, uplifted, if his ego feels nourished without being threatened, if his defense mechanisms do not kick in, then, and only then, a bond forms. A bond his mind cannot break. Even if he isn't consciously aware of it, his instincts sense it. His emotional system registers it, and his soul, without knowing why, begins to be drawn to you. The famous psychologist Carl Jung said, "We don't love people. We love the feelings they awaken in us." This is an unyielding truth when it comes to men's emotional bonding. Aishi, a 36-year-old woman, discovered this through experience without anyone teaching her. She summarized it to me like this: I was with a man who wasn't perfect, and I wasn't trying to make him perfect. But when he was with me, he laughed more. He spoke about his childhood without pain. He dreamed of things he had never dared to imagine before. One day, he told me, "When I'm with you, I feel like the best man I can be. And that scares me because I've never felt this with anyone else." That was the moment he began to bond. Not because Aishi was trying to please him, not because she spoiled him or chased after him. Aishi became a haven where he felt emotionally free, without judgment. And you know what? That feeling isn't found just anywhere. It's what his mind registers, what his body seeks, what his soul begins to crave without understanding why. Let me reveal a great truth that almost no one tells you. A man can be intimate with many women, but he only bonds with the one who makes him feel like a better man. Not stronger, not more admired, but better. More peaceful, more authentic, more himself. This feeling isn't created through sacrifices. It emanates from your own center. When you stop trying to please him, stop trying to prove you're the best option, or stop controlling whether he will choose you, you begin to emit an emotional frequency that says, "Here, you can breathe. Here, you're not being tested." And that's what keeps him by your side. It's not your beauty, not your sacrifices, not the proofs of your love, but the emotional reflection you offer him, a sensation he cannot find anywhere else. If you're wondering why he didn't bond with you, why, after giving everything, he didn't see you as valuable, it's time to ask yourself a more powerful question. How did he feel when he was with me? Did he feel challenged, judged, analyzed? Or did he feel free, calm, and seen? I'm not talking about your intentions, but about what his ego and emotional structure perceived. Because sometimes you think you're showing him love, but he feels evaluated. You think you're proving his worth, but he feels pressured, and that creates flight, not attachment. How do you change this? not by being cold, playing hard to get, or using tricks, but by forging such a strong connection with yourself that you don't need him to validate your existence or feel good about what you do. When he senses that you are at peace with yourself, that you're not trying to fix or save him, that you see him as he is while remaining whole in your own presence, it calms him, lowers his defenses, and creates a bond. Because an emotionally immature man may be drawn to chaos, but a man who is beginning to awaken is drawn to the serenity that radiates from your center. And when he experiences this, it leaves an imprint on him. There are many beautiful women, intelligent women, wonderful women, but the one who, without manipulating him, makes him feel like a better man, that woman imprints herself on him. She becomes his emotional root. She begins to occupy a space in his soul, even if he denies it, even if he walks away, even if he resists. He knows. His body remembers. His shadow searches for her, and his mind relives her. Because a woman who connects him to the best version of himself is unforgettable. She is silently missed, desired without him knowing why, and often lost because he didn't understand her in time. What happens when a woman doesn't need to be admired, but a man continues to choose her? That's what we'll explore now, because this is where the second trigger is born. The one that unites without her having to emotionally block him. Second trigger. The I'm the lucky one effect when she doesn't need to be admired, but he chooses her anyway. There is a sensation that completely dissolves the male ego. It's not when she tells him she loves him, not when she tries to please him, not even when she does everything perfectly. It's when he watches her in her own world, feels he has no power over her, and yet chooses to stay. Not because she tries, but because she doesn't need him. And her quiet but solid confidence makes him feel that if he doesn't choose her, he'll lose something he won't find anywhere else. This is one of the subtlest and most powerful moments when a man begins to bond emotionally. When he feels lucky to have her attention while she doesn't beg for his. Zeynep, a 38-year-old woman, experienced this and wrote to me, "I felt good with him, but I didn't feel empty without him. I didn't text him every day. I didn't ask if he missed me. I didn't seek reassurance. And yet, he always came back. One day, he told me, 'I don't understand why I value you so much. I feel like if I lose you, I'll lose something irreplaceable.'" Zeynep didn't do this as a strategy. She was simply so full of herself that she projected no lack. She didn't chase him. She didn't try to capture his attention by challenging him. She was herself, and that state of being was her greatest strength. Because a man's attachment is not triggered by a reward, but by a contrast. When he realizes nothing is guaranteed with you, but what he receives makes him feel valued and free at the same time, it changes everything. And here's one of the most powerful truths no one tells you. A man doesn't bond when he feels you want him to admire you. He bonds when he values you, when he feels lucky to have chosen you. Because in that moment, you're no longer a woman waiting to be chosen. You're a woman who chooses from a place of serenity, dignity, without emitting an energy of begging or demanding. And that energy marks his emotions, because it reminds him of something he doesn't yet know how to handle, being drawn to a woman who doesn't beg for his approval. And the most powerful thing about this, do you know what it is? When you don't fight, when you don't try to prove your worth, when you don't emit hidden anxiety, he lowers his guard and begins to be himself, without defenses, without games, without masks. And that space of authenticity is where true attachment happens. Not because of what you do, but because of what he feels when he's with you. Because a woman who doesn't scramble for approval becomes the place where he feels chosen for his truth, not his performance. And that brings him back, not out of need, but through genuine emotional attraction. how do you activate this in yourself? I'll clearly explain the 3 signals that emit this magnetic frequency, the 3 signs of a woman who doesn't need to be admired, but inspires a man to choose her. First sign: she is at peace with her own silence. She doesn't try to fill the voids. She doesn't panic when she's not speaking. Her world doesn't depend on a response, so she doesn't rush to interpret. Second sign: she doesn't give her time easily. She's not constantly available. She doesn't respond quickly. She doesn't rearrange her day for a vague promise, and that, instead of pushing him away, makes him curious. Third sign: she doesn't try to control the connection. She doesn't ask, "What are we?" She doesn't demand labels. She simply observes, and if something doesn't resonate, she doesn't force it. And that freedom she projects is what keeps him. Not to control him, but because he wants to keep experiencing that feeling with her. A man may be attracted to many women, but he bonds deeply with the one who doesn't need him, yet chooses him anyway. The one who doesn't chase him, but whose presence honors him. Because one idea imprints itself in his mind. I don't know how you do it, but being with you feels like a privilege. And that's the start of every true emotional bond. Now focus all your attention. You're about to discover how to seal this, because there's something stronger than what he feels with you. The way you reflect him without saying a word, the silent language that captures him, binds him, and makes him return to you without you having to do anything. Third trigger: the unique emotional experience. It's something he doesn't find in other women, and that his mind begins to seek in you. There are women a man remembers with love, others with desire, others still with guilt. But there's one woman, just one, his mind cannot let go of. It's not the one who gave him everything. It's not the perfect woman. It's not the one who wanted him to stay. It's the one who gave him a unique emotional experience he cannot replicate with any other woman. That feeling touches him so deeply, so authentically, at such an inexplicable level that his ego cannot process it, but his body registers it, and his soul holds on to it. This woman wasn't the most accessible. She wasn't the most sacrificial. She wasn't the one who always said yes. She was the one who, gently, confronted him with parts of himself he had never seen, who supported him without carrying his burdens, who listened without trying to fix him, who didn't try to change him, but, without intending to, shifted his vibration. And that experience is unforgettable. Some moments seem simple but leave a mark, a conversation, a shared laugh, a comfortable silence, a look that doesn't aim to seduce but simply to see. And that's something he doesn't easily find elsewhere. He may search, imitate, reflect, but if he's already experienced it with you, no one else can replicate it. And when he tries, he involuntarily begins to compare them to you. Not to your body, not to your messages, but to that feeling, that emotional serenity you made him feel, even if he doesn't know how to name it. A man who experienced this told me honestly. After her, I was with many women. They were attractive, intense, intelligent, but I always felt something was missing. It wasn't that they did anything wrong. With her, everything felt right. Even in silence, even if she said nothing, it was a peace I couldn't find anywhere else. That's what marks him. That's what binds him. That's what brings him back years later, just to see how she's doing. Because he doesn't miss the person. He misses what he felt about himself when he was with her. And he experienced that in a unique emotional experience his ego cannot replicate with another woman. And the wildest part is that you cannot fake this. You cannot trigger it as a technique. You cannot copy it from a video. Because this experience he has with you doesn't come from what you do. It comes from you. When you're connected to your truth. You're not playing a role. You're not trying to be special. You're not competing. You're just there, fearlessly, without anxiety, without a mask. And your presence is so rare, so precious in today's world, that his emotional space recognizes it as unique, unrepeatable. Because in that moment he feels free but contained, accepted but not overprotected, seen but not analyzed. And for a man used to living defensively, under pressure, questioned or ignored, this is pure emotional medicine. And like any true medicine, when he loses it, his system notices and begins to seek it. He feels something is missing. He can't understand why everything seems the same without you. How do you activate this unique emotional experience? Not with strategies, but with authenticity, with inner harmony, with a peace that cannot be bought, but is cultivated. I'll share the 3 essential keys to creating this experience, not for him, but from within yourself. First key, your energy demands nothing from him. You don't wait for him to choose you. You don't try to control the connection. You savor, you feel, you're in the flow. And that removes the pressure he feels to perform. When a man doesn't feel tested, he begins to relax, and that's where he bonds. Second key, you open a space for him. He feels he can be himself without you erasing yourself. You don't disappear. You don't revolve around his emotions. You don't lose yourself in what he wants. You're a calm mirror, not an emotional abyss. And that keeps him, because he feels free, but not alone. Third key, you don't try to impress him, but you impact him anyway. You don't try to be the perfect woman. You don't tailor your words to him. You don't say he's right to please him. You're just you, with presence, strength, authentic sweetness, non-aggressive boundaries. And that's magnetic to him because his soul feels supported and his ego doesn't feel threatened. That's what marks him. It's not what you give him, not what you do, but what he feels when he's with you. And when he tries to replicate it with someone else, when he thinks he can build the same thing elsewhere. When he tells himself, it was just chemistry. A part of his body will say, no, it wasn't just that. It was her. It was what she awakened in me. And that's what deeply binds a man, not because of what you give him, but because of what you awaken in him at a level he didn't even know existed. Now, focus all your attention. You're about to discover how to seal this, because there's something stronger than what he feels with you. The way you reflect him without saying a word, the silent language that captures him, binds him, and makes him return to you without you having to do anything. Fourth trigger, the silent language that binds him. Your gaze, the tone of your voice, and your energy seal it effortlessly. Something happens in him long before he realizes it. Before you say, I love you. Before he says, you matter to me. Before he even says, I don't know what's happening to me. It happens in silence, without words. It happens when you look at him fearlessly, when you speak to him without anxiety, when you're there without giving too much of yourself. And even if he doesn't understand it, his body reacts. His emotional system registers an energy that marks him, as if his subconscious is saying, this is different. This keeps me here. It's not what you say, not what you do, but what you reflect. Because you can be sweet to him, and he may not stay. You can tell him you love him, and he may still walk away. You can give him everything, and he may not bond. But when your silent language transmits an emotional experience that makes him feel uplifted, in the presence of something precious, a bond forms beyond his will. Carl Jung said that the soul speaks through symbols, and that the unconscious communicates with the unconscious. And that's exactly what happens when you tell him everything without speaking. A woman shared an experience she had with a man years ago. I never told him how I felt. We never had a deep conversation about love. But every time he saw me, his eyes searched for me. He touched me gently. And once he told me, with you, I feel at home. I don't know why. I just know I don't want to leave. She hadn't done anything specific. She was simply there with total authenticity, without vibrating from a place of lack, without trying to be admired, without trying to impress him. And that's what captured him. Because the most powerful thing about your presence is not what you say, but what your space says about you when you stop playing a role. Now I want to show you what your silent language emits when you're truly connected to yourself, and why it marks him without him knowing. First sign: your gaze doesn't seek acceptance. It observes without judging. Instead of a look that tries to please, a woman who sees a man as he is, without needing to change him, emits a force that lowers his defenses. He drops his guard, stops playing a role, relaxes, and in that moment, his soul begins to associate a feeling he wants to relive with you, a threat-free authenticity. And that creates an emotional bond, even if you're not seeking it. Second sign: your tone is gentle but firm, like that of someone who isn't competing. When you speak without urgency, without anxiety, without trying to manipulate or control the conversation, he feels it. He doesn't think it. He perceives it. And his sense that he's not at war, that he doesn't have to win your love, makes him feel free. And that freedom becomes the point where he begins to associate you with peace. And where there is peace, there is true emotional bonding. Third sign: your energy doesn't revolve around him but still encompasses him. When you're there, open, warm, but not emotionally available by default, he understands. He feels it, even if you don't say it. And that pushes him to value your presence. He stops assuming you're ready for him at all times. He begins to wonder what it's like to be with a woman who gives so much, yet doesn't fully surrender herself. And when a man starts wondering this, he's already emotionally marked. There's already something in your space tied to you, even if he hasn't said it yet. How do you train this silent language? Not by faking confidence, not by being cold. It's trained when you free yourself from the urgency to be admired, when you no longer speak from a void, when you no longer live with the need to be chosen. Then your body communicates it. Your silence becomes magnetic. Your gaze becomes a mirror. Your voice becomes an invitation, not a pressure. And he's drawn in without knowing why. Because you're no longer the woman waiting. You're the woman who is, and who might not be. And that's what binds him. A man may forget your words, ignore your gestures, justify why he walked away. But when he sees you, when you're calm, when your energy doesn't pressure him, he relives what he felt without knowing how. And that's why he returns, or doesn't leave, or sees you in his dreams, or searches for you in others. Because the bond wasn't sealed by a conversation. It was sealed by a vibration. And that doesn't fade easily. And in the next point, I'll show you how to maintain this bond without betraying yourself. How to stay in your presence, magnetic and authentic, without losing your center out of fear of losing him. Because he bonds even more when you no longer revolve around him. Fifth and final trigger: how to maintain this bond without betraying yourself. He bonds more when you don't lose your center. So far, you've understood how a man begins to bond. Not because of what you do, but because of what he feels about himself when he's with you. Because of the unique emotional experience he has only with you. Because of the silent language that envelops him effortlessly. But now, here's the most important part. How do you maintain this bond without betraying yourself in the process? Because many women, when they activate this subconscious bond, when they notice he's more present, more attentive, more emotional, lower their guard. In the illusion of having already won, they shift their center for him, and without realizing it, they lose him. Why? Because a man's attachment crumbles when he senses you're no longer you, when a version of you has submitted more to him. I'll tell you plainly, he bonds more when you remain you, even when he's with you. even when he loves you, even when he chooses you. And when you finally feel he's bonded, that he's finally emotionally present, that he finally sees you, you sometimes, without realizing it, start making small sacrifices. You respond faster. You postpone your plans to fit his. Out of fear of losing what you've gained, you subtly shift your energy. And in that moment, you're no longer the same woman who inspired his attachment. You're now a woman acting out of fear, and he perceives it. Carl Jung said that nothing destroys a person more than betraying themselves to be accepted, and this is directly true in love. A woman wrote something to me that stuck with me. I felt so connected to him that I stopped doing my own things to have more time for him. I told him more often that I admired him. I gave him more than he wanted, and in a short time, I felt him growing distant. I became more his than my own, and the moment I thought I had won him, I lost him. And this should never happen to you again. Because true feminine magnetism doesn't lie in total surrender, but in constant connection with yourself. How do you maintain this connection without dissolving? With something the narcissism of the modern woman rejects, emotional integrity, the ability to feel deeply without losing yourself, to love deeply without giving up on yourself, to choose him without stopping choosing yourself. And this isn't coldness, it's wisdom. Because you didn't come here to give up everything again, just because a man saw you. You came here to remember that your center is you, and he bonded with you from that center. Not because of your obsession, not because of your anxiety, but because of your calm light, your expectation-free authenticity. Here are 4 keys to maintaining this connection without ever betraying yourself. First key, your life goes on. Even when he arrives, don't pause your processes, your dreams, your passions just because he's there. The day your life starts revolving around him, he feels it, and his desire begins to fade. He bonded with a woman who had her own world, not a woman who gave up her world for him. Second key, your boundaries remain. Even if he loves you now, even if he's come back, more open, more attentive, more present, that doesn't mean you need to open all your doors. Your energy remains selective. Your time remains sacred. Your love isn't on sale. It's in consistency, and that keeps him awake. Third key, your mystery doesn't vanish. Even if he knows you better now, don't explain everything to him. Don't share every thought with him. Don't give him access to all your emotions. Keep things for yourself, not to play games, but because you respect yourself. True mystery isn't silence. It's not fully exposing yourself out of fear of losing him. Fourth key, your center remains yours. Even if you love him, even if you feel he's yours, even if everything feels fluid, your axis is internal. You are the anchor. You are the root. And if one day you feel you're losing yourself, come back to yourself before he starts to drift away. Because here's the most powerful paradox. He bonded with you because you didn't belong to him. Because you didn't need to protect yourself. Because you didn't give him everything without him earning it. Because you showed him that having you was a privilege. And now that he's closer, that privilege shouldn't feel guaranteed. It should stay alive, felt, present, not through blind surrender, but through a woman who loves herself so much that she doesn't get lost for love again. And if he feels this, if he perceives that you're still you, that you don't dissolve into the bond, that you remain solid ground even as he draws closer, then the attachment transforms into something deeper. A stable emotional connection, united not by drama but by the respect you have for yourself. And that's when a man not only bonds, but begins to bond emotionally without knowing why. Because it's no longer just about what he feels with you, but about what he's willing to protect to never lose you again. In conclusion, he doesn't bond because of what you give him. He bonds because you don't lose yourself to gain him, because you remain yourself, even when he chooses you. Because true emotional bonding doesn't arise from your efforts, but from your axis, your serenity, the silent certainty you emit when you know you don't need to prove anything to be valuable. And if this message resonates with you, I invite you to leave a powerful like, subscribe, and activate the bell so you don't miss anything. And if you want to further support this space in your heart, you can join our community as a channel member and enjoy exclusive benefits.